Welcome back to Thoughts from My Road. I'm once again on the road, headed out to visit a lady at not quite assisted living, independent living, but lady from my church. Anyway, topic for this little talk is called Jesus is Magic. And it comes from something a friend said to me several weeks ago when we were talking about Jesus and God and religion and that kind of thing. And he said, Jesus is magic. And the conversation kept going, and I didn't have the moment at that time to respond real fully to the thought that Jesus is magic. So here are my thoughts on the statement, Jesus is magic. First of all, of course, we've got to define what we mean by magic, because there are several different definitions that people use. And so we've got to get the context right. We've got to know what magic means. Sometimes we use the word magic to mean magic tricks, as in sleight of hand, as in card tricks, where I spread out cards face down and you pick one and you take a look at it and you don't show me, and then I shuffle them all up and I go through and I pull it out, and there amazingly is your card. Or an almost daughter of mine worked during college with a magician, and so she got to be, skewered in a box and cut in half and all that kind of fun stuff. Those are sometimes thought of as magic. It's a trick. It's done with, in quotes, smoke and mirrors, sleight of hand, that type of stuff. So that's one definition of magic. Another definition of magic is the general definition of supernatural power, be it good or evil, be it something neutral that's used in a good way or in a bad way, depending on what your cosmology is, or the cosmology of the fantasy or mythology that you're reading. But in general, then, magic is supernatural power. This power, depending again on the books or the source material, could be something that is within a character, that is, the character itself has supernatural power that it uses in whatever way. Examples from this would be Lewis and Tolkien's books, The White Witch in Narnia, Aslan in Narnia, and in Tolkien, characters like Sauron, or the Balrog, or Gandalf, or Saruman. Those are characters in each of these series that are magic in and of themselves. They have supernatural power which they use. Another way that we see magic in fantasy and mythology is something that's learned, where a person has a talent or a knack for it, but has to learn about it and learn how to use it by learning spells, incantations, the right plants, or whatever it might be. This would be an example, or examples of this would be the Harry Potter series, the Earthsea series by Ursula Le Guin, and others. But supernatural power in some way, shape, or form. A third way that we use the word magic is to refer to someone who has an incredible skill with something. We might say, oh man, they are just magic. For example, Magic Johnson, the famous basketball player, with his nickname Magic, because of his incredible skill on the court. We're not referring to sleight of hand. He really did do those things that he did on the court. We're not talking about supernatural power, but we're talking about an incredible skill in a given area, and we might call that magic in a sort of complimentary form, as an exaggeration of what that person is able to do. Because it may seem like supernatural power to us, even though we know it's not. Those are the three definitions I'm working with then for supernatural power, for magic. Now, the statement, Jesus is magic. Well, the first definition we used was sleight of hand, tricks, and that is not what Jesus is. Now, some of you may believe that is the definition of magic that works best with Jesus. But if we go to source material, we go to the scriptures of the Old and New Testament, particularly the New Testament, and what it says of Christ, we've got to say that Jesus' miracles, all of them, were not sleight of hand. People were actually healed. People were actually raised from the dead. Bread was multiplied. Jesus did walk on water. He did rise from the dead, according to the New Testament. And so the first definition of magic that we used, that of sleight of hand or tricks or clever deception, does not fit Jesus. So in that sense, Jesus is not magic. We'll skip the second definition, go to the third one, of some incredible skill. And while Jesus may have been incredibly skilled in some areas of life, that's not the kind of magic that we're talking about either. When we talk about Jesus raising the dead, coming back to life, and all those types of things, that doesn't fit the bill of just an honorary exaggeration of things that he did, in the same way as Magic Johnson was magic on the basketball court. So we have to look at the second definition and say, was Jesus magic, or is Jesus magic in the sense of supernatural power? And the answer is yes, but. So let me explain that. When we define magic as supernatural power, then Jesus is magic. Jesus is supernatural power, and he has supernatural power. He has it because he is it. Jesus is a supernatural being. He is God, so by definition, he is supernatural. Secondly, because he is supernatural, he has supernatural power. And that gets used in many, many ways throughout the Bible. So Jesus is supernatural, and because of that, he does supernatural things. And if you want to call that magic, I suppose you could. But here's the but. Speaking within the context of the Bible, one would not necessarily say that Jesus is magic, because the term magic is used in Scripture only to refer to the dark arts, only to refer to bad magic, black magic, magic from evil spirits, demons, that type of thing. And so, if we're looking at the biblical use of the word magic, then Jesus is not magic. But if we look at a general term of magic just within the world and the way that we use it, and saying that magic is supernatural power, either good or evil, depending on any number of things, then yes, Jesus both is magic and he has magic. He is supernatural and he does supernatural things. Now, does that mean then that everything is just poofed away? Because sometimes we think of magic as snapping your fingers and poof, like the genie, I have 3 wishes. Well, that's not necessarily the type of magic or supernatural power that we speak of when we speak of Jesus as divine or a supernatural being. The supernatural power of Jesus is much more vast than that. It's much more serious than that, and not to be taken lightly. So, there are some thoughts for anyone who wishes to think on those things today with regard to, is Jesus magic?